Yeah.
But it's.
Yeah, they're all. Thanks. Morning. They're there, like I haven't seen them. You have to stand.
Yeah.
I hope it's me. Okay. I don't have much.
Huh? Still alive. We can throw that down below if you want. That's all right.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of Monday, October 28th to order. Please rise for prayer and pledge allegiance. Dear Lord, thank you for enabling us to gather here this evening to conduct the people's business. Help us to hear what is being presented, to make sound choices, and to share the things that will benefit all of us here in Castle Shannon. Help us to manage and solve the various challenges that we face as a community. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Nancy Kovac.
Here.
Here.
Votes.
Here.
Dave Seiler.
Here.
Kevin Brandon.
Here.
Lisa Sherman.
Here.
Jeremy.
Here.
John Baumgarten.
Here.
Eileen Conley. Michael Foote.
Here.
Dennis. Paul Zimmer. Jason Stanton.
Thank you. Public notice as an executive session was held this evening at 6 p.m. for the purpose of collecting information or educating agency members about issues. Are there any revisions or additions to the agenda? No additions. Public comment on agenda items. If anybody wants to comment on agenda item, please come to the podium. Public presentations. Castle Shannon Police Department.
Madam President, thank you.
Yes.
On October 10th, myself, Lieutenant McCune, and Officer Majors there attended the United States Attorney's Office for Western District of Pennsylvania, their annual award ceremony for the law enforcement agency directors. That is a conglomerate of law enforcement leaders in the region and the western half of the state at the local, state, county, and federal level. They meet first Friday of every month. Every year they do this award presented by the U.S. Attorney for the Western District for lengthy and comprehensive investigations on behalf of law enforcement and prosecutors in this region. Officer Majors is going to talk about, I asked him to brief counsel about a drug case that started in 2022, was adjudicated in 2023, and the bad guy was sentenced to 9 years in prison. That's when methamphetamine and cocaine earlier this year. 9 years, substantial. It was a lengthy and comprehensive investigation. Want counsel to know how much hard work went into it. And this is just one of many cases that this officer does to keep drugs at bay in the borough of Castle Shannon. So, the major.
We'll come up here so everyone can see. So just not to correct you, it started in 2021, October of 2021. Started receiving complaints from residents within the borough about a particular residence on Maple Avenue. As you guys know, small streets, not many houses, so it started to stand out. We started paying attention to it, and we were able to develop 2 confidential informants on the case. I know that term gets thrown around, confidential informant. What is that? So just people that are willing to cooperate with a law enforcement agency for a multitude of reasons, but 2 particular reasons, one of which is either they want some type of monetary compensation for helping us, or they're looking for some type of leniency on charges that they were arrested for. And then there's a third, which is typically a moral compass where someone just comes forward because they know something and they think it's the right thing to do. With that being said, we started utilizing those informants, and then doing surveillance and certain things like that. So being in patrol, I can't do all of that while I'm in uniform, obviously, because some of that needs to be in plain clothes. So the chief and Lieutenant McKinnon and command staff supported me with that and allowed me time to go plain clothes and work this investigation. And one tool that we used that I want to emphasize was the license plate reader system. I know we've been fortunate enough to have that here in Castle Shannon for a long time. We were one of the first agencies to get on board with that, but now the whole southwest region of Pennsylvania has it, and it's been tremendous. So I utilize that on a daily basis, and I was able to determine when these individuals were coming in and out of Castle Shannon, but not only that, I knew there was an out-of-state nexus, that they were bringing these narcotics here from the state of Ohio, out of Columbus. So we were working this investigation. We used that license plate reader data to time it up perfectly with when we were going to execute that search warrant. So we used that data. We knew that they arrived back in Castle Shannon from Columbus at about 4:30 in the morning on June 3rd of 2022. We had the judge on standby. We got the warrant sworn out that morning. We executed the search warrant that day. We ended up seizing 4.1 pounds of methamphetamine and a half a kilo of cocaine out of that address on Maple Plain. As a result of this entire investigation, I think it was 12 or 13 arrests here in Castle Shannon, narcotics related, that occurred here. Surrounding that residence, there was additional arrests unrelated to narcotics, such as like some domestic stuff and disorderly persons, trespassing. So there was other stuff associated with, that. So there was more arrests than that. And then subsequently, we took the entire drug trafficking organization out of Pittsburgh. So we arrested all those individuals here, took all the information that we found, through that investigation, and with the FBI and the Allegheny County Police, I think we arrested an additional 6 or 7 individuals across Pittsburgh. So total, we took out the entire organization coming out of state into Pittsburgh. And like the chief had said, we ended up, it takes time, as you see. I mean, we arrested him June 3rd of 2022. He was unfortunately released on a bond, and he fled to the state of Florida. He was caught, that's why there was such a lengthened delay. He was caught in Florida on an additional drug charge, and U.S. Marshals extradited him back to Pennsylvania. And then in earlier this year, I think it was April, beginning of May, he actually pled no contest, pled guilty, because he was looking at 20 plus years if he wanted to take it to trial. So he pled guilty to 108 months in federal prison. So I know you guys see that, but we wanted to give you guys a little bit of a background.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for investing in the license plate reader data. I mean, I've already used it multiple times today, working on other stuff. So it's invaluable across the board to have that. And I think that's why you see everybody in southwestern Pennsylvania on board with that.
Have the mayor present Justin with the award that was also presented by the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Pennsylvania, and special agent in charge of the Pittsburgh field office. But the skill set that this officer has is unique, and not every police officer has that skill set, that innate ability to find people who are dealing in drugs. This council, I'm grateful that they allowed me to loan an officer to the DEA several years ago, and that officer is paying that. His work there is paying dividends. That's the money we have in our forfeiture seizure fund right now. This officer, the work that he's doing would not be done had we not had an officer assigned to the FBI task force. This drug work, there's drugs. I mean, we border the city. We've got 5 state roads. We've got bars. We have drugs. And like I said, not every police officer can do this kind of drug work. So we're fortunate to have him. I just want council to know about the skill set that he has, and he's being recognized nationally in addition to locally. So, Your Honor, would you mind taking a photograph with the officer in this award?
You would have shared them.
Black and gold, Your Honor. So I'll surround him.
Out here.
Get another one. Okay.
I say at every meeting, we have drugs everywhere. We have drugs here, there's drugs everywhere, and from every one you get, there's 2 more. So we just can't forget it. You know, you got to keep your eyes open. If there was a lot of people here, I always tell them, keep your eyes open. See what's going on in your neighborhood. Let our police know and maybe we can catch a few more, but they just keep coming back, so. Fentanyl's the big thing.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
If everyone's had the chance to review the minutes from the last meeting, if there's no additions or changes, I'd like a motion to approve the October 14th Borough Council business meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have some administration business.
Madam President, staff is requesting council consideration for an employee request to be exempted from the CBA stipulated residency requirement. And this requirement in Article 1 stipulates that an employee needs to reside within 5 aeronautical miles of the borough. This employee is planning on moving outside of that range and is requesting an exemption from that contract requirement. Per the contract, council has the ability to review the request and award that request if they deem that to be a valid request.
Okay, I think there's some questions, so I don't know.
Well, where exactly are you moving to? Hopewell. Follow up. So on like call outs, are we gonna go to like the rotation? Or like emergency 1 calls and stuff like that, that'll go into the rotation? If you're gonna be, I mean, Hopewell's
20 miles, 21 miles of gravel, 120 kilometers.
So, yeah, so, I think we were confused because you said 20 minutes you were gonna be 20 minutes away in the last meeting. So
I did it the other day in 22 minutes.
you were flying.
Are you talking 3:30 in the morning? Are you talking about rush hour?
It's 5:30.
Really? Takes me 17 minutes to get to 79 and then another 8-10 minutes to get to Moon Golf. That's 20 some minutes to there and you're beyond the airport.
She's right on the exit.
But we are gonna go to that rotation then? Like if there's emergency call outs and the next guy down? Okay.
How's that handled? Who does that?
They call, 811 will call me, or these guys will call me,
Who calls you?
811.
Oh, 811. Okay.
That's for the 1 call thing. So we did have a question and we asked the chief earlier, when the snow call out, the police call 911. They call dispatch.
They don't have all the time. A lot of times they'll call me. They don't call that all the time.
Does 911 have a list?
They don't, I don't think so. They call me.
My guys are calling you direct
Guys call me
all the time,
most of the time.
but sometimes 911 calls.
Sometimes I'll get both.
Okay. We'll streamline it.
But
So-
if it's gonna be a snow call out and I know it's gonna snow, I'm staying at my garage. It lives in Baltimore.
So
That's less than 5 minutes away.
you get a call from 811 and you decline it. What's the next step?
Next senior guy, which is done.
And who calls him?
I
And what if he denies, doesn't want it?
call the next guy.
So it's all handled by you at that point.
If I'm out of town, like if I'm off, then I give 811 Tony's phone. The next guy in charge. In there with us.
And he knows what to do. If he doesn't want it, it goes to the next person, or does he give 811 somebody else's phone number?
Well, I would organize that. It's either he takes it or the next guy takes it. They have to agree with it.
So it's by seniority?
Yes.
It's always by seniority, it doesn't rotate? Like if,
On the 811, no, it's also seniority.
but if, third person in senior gets it this time, does it go, the next call out, does it go to the fourth person or go back to the top? Tony's your number one guy.
He gets emergency one calls.
Okay, so he gets it.
every night.
Okay, he declines it. It goes to Chip. He declines it.
Next guy.
Okay, so the next guy takes it. So who's ever fourth in line on the next call out, do they go or does it go back to Tony?
Goes back.
Go back to Tony. Those guys at the bottom don't really have an opportunity unless it's declined all the way through.
Unless,
And if it is all the way through, then what
I
happens?
have to come.
You have to go.
I'm usually on my way,
You have to go.
but if I'm out of town,
Well, aside from that, yeah.
So does anybody else have any questions, or have you been satisfied with the answers, or if you have?
So Bob, just to kind of retouch on this, I think, so moving forward with you all the way out there, on emergency calls, are you saying you're just going to default to the list and pass yourself up from here on out? Or are you going to continue to take the calls and respond?
I'll take it. If I can't make it, I'll move on.
And so when you guys, and I would imagine you as the foreman are also included in this, when the public works are called out after shift end, right? You guys have a minimum payout, correct? So does that payout start the moment you get the phone call, or does that payout start the moment your guys get into the garage? When they hit the garage? Okay.
Madam President, I'd like to clarify, I will look into the contract language and clarify that for council.
The part-time.
When the overtime starts, yeah, start time.
Okay, thank you.
Normally, when I would call them, on this guy away, it takes him 20 minutes. It comes.
You have a borough vehicle? You have your own vehicle. When you leave here, you take that vehicle to go home and
It might be.
your vehicle. That's what I meant. Okay.
I'll use it.
So up to the 4-hour call out. If you complete your task at the 4-hour limit, are we still paying you to drive home or not? Okay. So it is, once we get a clarification, it would be once he leaves here as compared to once he arrives here as well for the 4-hour start.
I'll look at the language.
So do you, are we comfortable with voting on this tonight, or are we not comfortable?
Well, I asked the question, Bob, because I do deal with, one call a lot, and I asked the question about, who's going to get next call out. If you're going to continue to do that I do have a concern over that. If we're not going to defer to the next closest guy that can get to the one call in a timely manner.
If it's a timely manner, I'm calling the next guy. I'm not gonna kill myself to get here. I'll just make the round robin, use the round robin rule. There's a lot of times when they do the one call on my end, I don't know what it is. They don't tell me what it is every time. They don't tell me it's a gas leak or a water main break, or that's one thing 811 does not do. I have no control over that. But if it's the police are calling and it's ice, I'm calling somebody out. I'm not gonna, I'll get here, but I'll call. Guys will be around within 5 minutes of the phone call. If I'm not in my garage. And if I know it's gonna be that bad, I'll just stick around. I would go, you did it real close.
Okay, like I said, I just want to, if it's something that's is a timely manner, you're going to definitely defer, and it's going to go to the closest guy available. That's what I want to hear. Okay.
Do we have any other?
So the 811 calls, but you said they don't tell you what it's for.
Not at all.
So how do
If it's a hit line, yes, they'll tell me if they hit your sewer line or they hit, but a lot of times, like I said, I have no control over that. They just tell me they're gonna dig.
Okay. So how do you know where to go?
They tell you where to go.
They give you, yeah, okay, because I thought he just said they didn't tell him.
No, they don't tell them,
Yes.
they don't necessarily tell them if if the contractor hits a gas line and then you get to do an emergency one call. They're just gonna tell him, come on, he's got to get out, in a certain amount of time to go out and mark out our assets. That's the idea. But like Bob said, if they hit our sewer and it's a problem, then they're gonna tell them, hey, they hit your sewer, you need to get out there right away. Yeah, they're not necessarily concerned about what got hit. They're concerned about not hitting anything else, I guess is the way to say it.
But I've gotten a little smarter on that. What I do is I stay on the line and I'll get hold of the operator and I'll tell her to read it to me. Because like the office will send it to me, they'll send me a picture of it. I'll stay on the line, get someone on there and say, okay, what did they hit? What's it say? That way I know what I'm getting involved in. But sometimes it may just be, we get a telephone pole or it has nothing to do with it.
I'd like to say, Madam President, that if there's anything critical where we would need him, we can commit to putting some kind of communication in place that my guys are gonna have boots on the ground immediately. And if we need Bob, he's saying my guys call him anyway. So if there's something where we need him, we'll commit to that communication loop, make sure that we can get a hold of him.
Okay, does anybody else have any concerns or questions that they don't feel have been satisfied?
Would that mainly be like a snow call? Your guys go to the brick roads and find out how slick it is?
Bob and I talk all the time anyway. We'd have all kind of weather events, rain, flooding, so yes. I didn't know all my guys were calling him, but yes, we have good communication, so make sure that, close that loop.
Well, okay, if there's no concerns, or they haven't been answered adequately, I would move for a one-time exemption for employee Robert Osmond from the residency requirement found in Article 1, Page 3 of the agreement between the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters in Castle Shannon Borough.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, it is a one-time. You might want to make sure that it's clear in the minutes that this is not setting a precedent for the future, for any future.
Yeah, it's a one-time.
Are we gonna verify the pay? Whether it's garage or residence that Michael mentioned? Are you able to verify?
I can review the language and
Okay, all right.
Get that
Is
answer
that
to you.
gonna be a caveat,
Contingency.
a contingency to it?
Motion could be subject to that.
Okay,
Contingency.
Contingent on the,
when the pay starts, based on the
Travel
language.
time.
when the
Travel time, yeah.
Doesn't include travel time. Assume that's what you're suggesting.
Right, I mean, from the phone call, is that when the clock starts for pay, or is it when he hits the garage?
Right.
Bob says it's garage, Michael says he's gonna verify that.
When the motion can include that kind of a requirement that you're approving it only so long as the time the payment starts is when he hits the garage. If it's a 4-hour call out anyway, you're going to minimum anyway. If that's your motion.
And while that contingency is being added, we also add in contingency that this stuff goes through the police chief or the police department.
Yeah, you can make the motion in any way you want.
Were you
can add-
planning on doing some in writing, or is this just something you guys are gonna do?
Well, I'll work it out with Berman.
Okay, so we have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We have bid awards and contracts. We have resolution number 759 Allegheny County Southwest Tax Collection Committee. We apparently have to have, appoint delegates to represent us in this Southwest Tax Collection Committee. So I make a motion to adopt resolution number 759, appointing Michael Foote delegate and Eileen O'Malley as the alternate delegate to the Allegheny County Southwest Tax Collection Committee.
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have a Killarney Drive Phase 2 COO Source Reduction Project. I believe this is part of the MS4 requirements, no?
No, this is part of, Madam President, this is part of the consent decree. So this is the consent order and agreement. That's what COA stands for. And so this project is actually required with our agreement with Alcosan. And so the borough received a GROW grant from Alcosan in the amount of $88,000. That grant was approved at your last meeting. And so this request from staff is to authorize the manager to advertise the bid for this particular project.
Okay, thank you. Then we need a motion to authorize the borough manager to advertise for a bid on the Killarney Drive Phase 2 COA Source Reduction Project.
I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. We have a lease with Castle Shannon Volunteer Fire Department. The borough's currently renting storage space from Castle Shannon Volunteer Fire Department. The tenant that was in there has gone out of business, so we are moving to authorize council president and borough manager to exercise the 60-day termination clause in lease agreement with the Castle Shannon Volunteer Fire Department.
I'll make that motion.
We have a second?
Second.
All in
Madam
favor?
President, due to my personal involvement regarding the contract that is signing, I will be abstaining from this vote.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Council committee reports, community engagement and events.
Yes, I was informed tonight and finally going to take on this task that we'll be getting some updates from the Willow Wonderland Committee. This is a very motivated group of people, and I don't know how to have anything tonight regarding that, but I'm sure we'll be getting some pretty good updates in the near future.
Yeah, I think the chief had a meeting today briefly. Do you have anything to add? And I know Michael's been to the meetings. Dave, were you at the last meeting? No,
I was not able to make that one.
Madam President, the chief and I both met with members of the committee, but I'll certainly let you.
Yeah, they look like they've got everything under control. Our part, of course, will be traffic control and security and safety. So we're going to do a crossing guard, one police officer at Myrtle and Castle Shannon Boulevard. We know what roads to close. We're going to close Willow and Park Avenue. So it's the same detour we use when we've done light programs. We'll send them up to Poplar, to Pine, to Myrtle, and back onto Castle Shannon Boulevard. I think it looks like it's moving very smoothly.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of participants, is from what I can see, coming in from reservations and so on. But so
Well, they
hopefully.
bring a mobile cigar bar.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
Smoke cigars. I was excited.
How about just a little bar here?
Okay,
Yeah.
finance.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have a couple questions on the 2 check registers I received of, in 1018, I'll start with that one. The convention parking, that have to do with the police report you gave earlier about you guys going down somewhere for a convention or.
We have free parking.
Oh, okay.
Madam President, that was parking for your manager attending the ICMA conference at the conference center.
Oh, okay. I see.
Well, okay.
Conference, okay. That's good. And the other one for that same check register, you got 3 Post Gazette ads. The only reason I bring it up is it's strange. The one was $194, the second was $75, and the third one is $1,075. And I thought one of them might have been what we just passed tonight, the Killarney Drive Phase 2 but we didn't pass that till tonight, so I imagine you wouldn't be advertising that as part of a previous check register.
Madam President, that I haven't found it on my list here yet. Which page was that on?
I couldn't tell you that.
Yes.
For a what?
I'd like to put 3 more ads in. We have applications are due Friday. I only have 2 applicants.
And Madam President, the reason for the expense was that it was done in a Sunday paper, I believe. So that particular advertisement was a fairly expensive advertisement.
That's for the $1,000 one.
Yes.
Okay, the other two.
I just wanted to find it so I could set a reference for you, but yes,
Yeah, it was in the 18th one. Yeah.
Well, he's looking for that, Madam President. We usually do Thursday and Sunday, every other time we've advertised, and those are usually $1,800, which is why we usually co-op with Shakeoff, but those that has not been working out. So,
Okay.
yeah.
and Madam President, I didn't approve that Thursday advertising to try to keep the cost down. So that's why you're not seeing an $1,800 expense.
Okay, that answers those questions. On the 18th one, the most recent one, October 25th, it was another Post Gazette one for $1,344, hiring ad. I just want to know what job that was. Did that happen to be through YouTube, Chief?
If I may answer, the one on the 18th was out of Fund 18, which is capital. That check was voided and then reissued out of the general fund the next week.
What, the $1,075 one?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, really? I see. So apparently, as Councilman Siler's telling me, those 3 numbers I read off, the 194, the 75, and the 1,075, you add them up, that comes to the 1,344. So it's just okay, I'm good. I'm good with both of them then, the 18th and the 25th. Thank you.
Okay, then I'd like a motion to authorize the.
I had one other question.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. The question on the 25th check register, there was on page 3, there was an Elm Street garage charge for $242, and it said telephone next to it.
I think that would be Public Works.
I mean, I understand that, but I'm looking at the cost, $242 for telephone.
You said.
It's on page 3 of the 1025.
1025.
Yeah, page 3.
Okay. And it
Elm
was
Street
expensive, how
garage.
much?
Elm Street garage, $242. And it just said next to it, telephone.
I apologize. I'm just not seeing it.
Excuse me, Mr. Charlie, I'm sorry, the $299, is that the amount?
I have written down here 242.
Or, yeah, the assistant manager pointed me to the one after me, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't see anything on page 3.
Turn the page before it. You got the right one, yeah. It is
Yeah, right there. Oh, I'm sorry. It was page 1. I apologize for that.
Comcast.
Page
Elm
one,
Street
Comcast.
Garage.
Yeah, halfway
First
down in the
page.
middle. It's Comcast 242 for a telephone. That was my bad on the page number.
I didn't look at the invoice for that one. I'm Madam President. Lori, is that is there a phone over at the,
There's phone, but Comcast is probably for internet there too.
I thought I had seen that there was a FiOS charge as well, if I recall. I'd have to go back and relook at it.
though,
That's the one that stuck out, the 242 for the telephone.
the FiOS was something I looked into, and that looked like that was for cameras.
So they have cameras at the public works building, and we have it, I have a modem, I don't know which one, whether Comcast or Fios, I've got interspersed throughout the borough, so that very well could be the surveillance system.
Would it be beneficial to do them all with one carrier? That's possible.
I might answer. We have FiOS at most of our intersections because it's less expensive and it's more reliable. However, FiOS doesn't go everywhere. Believe it or not, there are only certain places where they do go, and we're split between Bridgeville and Brentwood of their brick and mortar stores, and they're territorial, and there's some places where there's overlap and they won't come in.
I guess I'm questioning the telephone charge through Comcast for 242. Could that be done through FiOS instead of Comcast? At a discount?
Well, I don't
We don't know what that is yet.
Madam President, what I can do is I can do some research. I can take a look at the invoice and then I can report back to council.
What I'm hearing, I think, is that's not telephone, it's actually security cameras. But it's
Well,
listed
if
under,
it's security cameras through the chief, it's FiOS.
okay.
That specifically says telephone.
So we're good on the 18th then, Lori, and the 25th still up in the air until that gets answered. We'll report on that back next week when we get an answer.
Okay, thank you. I need a
Thank
motion
you.
to authorize the payment of all outstanding bills and invoices.
Second.
Who first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay, Dan first, Dave second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. HR personnel, anything there?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Planning and codes,
Nothing.
public safety.
Something else, yes, ma'am. Thank you. Last meeting, we talked about applying for the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency sub-grant award for national incident-based reporting, and I'm happy to report that we almost have the award. This is an award letter granting the borough $28,097 for that program to switch from UCR reporting to national incident-based reporting. And all it needs is a signature of the council president. I discussed it with the solicitor. We feel that the action we took at the last meeting was sufficient. And once I get a signature, I can submit this online and then we will get the award. So I'll be asking the president to sign that, but I don't think any formal council action is necessary.
Thank you. We don't have anybody here from the fire department tonight. Public Works, Bill.
I think
Board reports, Allegheny County Boroughs Association. I guess the spring conference is April 3rd to 6th, and our meeting is next month. Civil Service.
That our test is on November 11th. I'm hoping that in the next 3 days we get some additional applicants. So we'll be testing out at the Allegheny County Police Training Academy with a couple other police agencies. Hiring.
Thank you. Economic Development,
Anything from that?
nothing there.
Nope.
Library,
Thank you. We had a great turnout last Sunday at the annual library Halloween parade and trick or treat. Nancy and myself set up at a table and had our costumes on, and the turnout was amazing. There were
We had
so many
at
families.
least 150.
Yeah, we were out of
We gave
candy.
up. We ran out of
But
treats.
yeah, it was a great event. So we're glad that we attended and had a great time. This Wednesday again is dine out at Permani Brothers Mount Lebanon location. Just remember to mention the library and they'll get a portion of that meal. The library is closing at 5 p.m. on Halloween, just because I'm sure the kids are going to be out trick-or-treating. So we're going to close the library early. The Board of Trustees meeting is for November is on November 7th at 7 p.m. at the library in the lower level. The library will also be closed on Monday, November 11th for Veterans Day. The Friends of Castle Shannon Library, it's an organization that fundraises for the library. They are having a meeting on Tuesday, November 12th at 7 p.m. and they are encouraging new members to join. So hopefully we'll see everybody there. The vendor and craft fair at the library, the vendors are sold out. It's going to be a full venue on Saturday, November 23rd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And there's also going to be some great raffles. And Thanksgiving, they're going to be closed on Thursday and Friday. The donation envelopes are new. You should have seen them in the Castle Shannon newsletter this time around. So if you want to send in a monetary donation, the envelope is there for you. And then another way to donate to the library is through an Amazon wish list. They have a wish list that are items specifically for the library. So if you go onto their website and click on the Amazon wish list link, you could always donate or give them a present around the holidays. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam President, could I just expound on one comment that the council member made? The envelopes that are in the newsletter, that was an additional cost of, I believe, $806. And the Friends of the Library will be reimbursing the borough for that expense. I just wanted to make that clarification for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Medical rescue team staff, Dan?
Yes, we met last Wednesday and certainly disheartening news from the MRTSA financial people. I'm not going to get into exact numbers, but our portion toward the budget is going to be more than 50% compared to what it was in the last year. So we have not counted on that at all. So we're back to the drawing board on the budget committee here, trying to see how we can afford this. But, and just to let you know, the Mount Lebanon commissioners are up in arms too. Their numbers going from like 500,000 annually to over 800,000. So they're beside themselves how they're going to afford this. So we're not the only community that's worried about it, but it's just the facts. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Shaycog?
Shaycog had their annual dinner on the 17th of October at the Nevillewood Country Club. So there was no scheduled official meeting. Their next meeting is November 21st, this, obviously, next month.
And where is that meeting? The 21st, do you remember?
They did not put it out yet. They only put it out about a week before.
Okay,
So I'm not sure. I should have the information at the next meeting where it's at.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Allegheny County Southwest Tax Collection Committee, I guess there's no report here since they haven't met. Mayor's report.
Well, I have nothing really to say except a couple of things that I have to witness talking about timing. There was a water break at the top of Blossom Hill one time, and there was another water break at the bottom of McCully. It seems like only the water company can turn the water off. So in one case, I think we waited well over an hour until some guy who used to work for the water company was able to turn it off. I guess he had the tool or whatever. And then the one at the top of Blossom Hill took another. In fact, the Salvation Army was there before anybody else could turn the water off, which destroyed a lot of people's yards. But I just want to say, you're talking about timing. You know, if you get a call for that, I mean, that's what you're going to do. You might as well walk there. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Manager's report,
I have nothing, Madam President.
solicitor's report.
Nothing.
The real estate tax collector is not here. Now, this is the moment for public comments on non-agenda items. If anybody has anything to address council, step forward and state your name and address. And
Good evening, Madam President, members of council. Just want to address you, members of the public, in my capacity as Constable for Shannon. Obviously, the election's coming up. As some of you may know or may not know, Pennsylvania law imposes one mandatory duty on constables in Pennsylvania, and that is to be present and maintain peace and order at the polls. It's not something I have a choice about. It is misdemeanor if I don't show up. But unfortunately, this year there's been a large amount of rhetoric, unfortunately some threats, both here in Pennsylvania and in other states, to the polls and to election workers. I wanted to report to the council that thankfully, through the process, with the Court of Common Pleas, I do have myself and 4 other deputies appointed to assist at polls on election day. Obviously, we hope that nothing will occur. Should be a smooth day. But I want the citizens of Castle Shannon and members of the council to feel confident that they can go to the polls, their votes will be counted, and they have nothing to worry about here. Council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Were you at the one at the library a couple elections ago where there was a problem?
Yes, unfortunately, I was.
So was I.
And you had to call the police?
I did. That individual was disrupting the polling place, was very belligerent, and ultimately I made the determination that Castle Shannon police were needed to assist in ending that disruptive behavior. Of course, I know Chief Truber, I spoke with him briefly before council meeting today. Day of the election, we also have a hotline to the Allegheny County Sheriff's Office. And I remain in communication with the Board of Elections, both in my individual capacity as Constable for Castle Shannon, and as a representative to the Allegheny County Constable Association. But that was an unfortunate incident, hopefully one that will not be repeated.
Okay, do we have any questions or any?
Yeah, I'm not done.
Oh, you're not done. Okay. We'll just sit back and wait then.
So when it gets on the news, it's big news. Castle Shannon normally is not on the news. So was any of your people hurt that I'm not remembering?
I think one of my officers knocked into the car and the car got dented, if I recall the circumstances specifically. But the constable's correct. For the most part, the police will stay out of the polling places. If there is an emergency and something is in progress, the sheriffs will be dispatched, but we will also go because we would get there first. But we will try to stay out of civil processes as much as possible and work with the constable and the sheriffs to assure everybody's safe. But the uniformed police officers are not supposed to be anywhere near polling.
Oh, when the guy walks outside and he's still acting up,
We took appropriate action and he was taken care of.
The next time you try something like that.
They're
I'm not a fighter.
a constable at each location. I know in the past you've rotated around, but I think this election is a little bit of a one-off.
Yes, so I always endeavor to have all of the polling places covered. Sometimes, unfortunately, that's not possible. That will be possible this year. I typically have, I'd like to have, and I do have this year, obviously, Myrtle School has 4 districts. It's the busiest precinct. I do kind of have one deputy assigned to the former St. Anne's precincts, and then I have another assigned to the Myrtle School precincts, if we will. I additionally have one at the library and here at Municipal. Obviously, here at Municipal, normally don't hear a peep out of folks here. Everyone's so nice and close downstairs, I think they're scared to act. But all polling places will be covered on November 5th.
Thank you. Is there any more questions or concerns?
Yeah, vote by mail, you won't have a problem.
Thank you, Mayor, for that input. Okay. Thank you. See you at the polls.
Thank you.
I voted weeks ago. I did.
Good evening, Jerry Coombs, Belleville Street. As some of you know, I do a lot of walking around the borough throughout the week and on the weekends. Chief will tell you, I find a lot of things, I observe a lot of things. This past weekend, I observed something that I think I'd like to bring to Borough Council's attention and pretty much everybody that's here this relates to. There's a homeless person that's kind of camped out in the garages at Vitty's. I noticed something when I went up Shannon Boulevard that there was something in the garage on my way back down. I looked in, there's blankets, there's pillows on Saturday. Sunday morning I went by, I was gonna take pictures. And I walked in the garage and I looked and I slowly backed out because there were feet sticking out from underneath the blankets. So I flagged down one of our officers and the police went over and took care of that. But my concern is if we got somebody that's camping out there, is there anybody inside Viddy's store? Is how often is somebody going through Viddy's and verifying that it doesn't appear somebody is living in there or set up camp inside? Because this time of the year, people are looking for heat. They get a little fire going, or they're burning candles for a heat source or to cook food. And if that place goes up in the middle of the night, there's a lot of other businesses close by and homes close by that can be greatly affected. So I think, I don't know what your policy is or how often Viddy's is being checked. And I've seen that the borough is going to be spending more money towards Viddy's and possibly renovating or doing something with it. But it would be these. That's what I've seen this weekend. And then there was feet sticking out. So the police officers went over to verify that there wasn't a dead body under there and it was actually a person. That's it.
Thank you. I'm sure the building's secured, so I guess we want to, what's that? Yeah. But I think that we checked the building first for being secured, so.
I'm just concerned this time of year because
Yeah.
you don't know.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? There being none, I'll close the public comment section of the meeting. Old business, anybody have any old business? I have a question. Did we make any decision on Christmas lights for the decoration? Did we look into?
Madam President, I've assigned one of our staff members to do some research, and so I haven't heard
Okay.
back yet, but
Thank
we are
you.
looking into it.
One more item on the old business. Are we, I can't remember, was it early last week, we brought up about the system, about taping meetings and stuff. Where exactly are we at on that? Any?
So the meeting this evening is being broadcast and taped. We actually have a couple of attendees this evening. I am still working with Vicki to get access to that borough YouTube account. I believe we are making a little bit of progress, but we're still not there yet. And ultimately, I think if we continue to have difficulty, we'll probably just create a whole new borough account and kind of start from scratch with these meeting recordings.
Can't we get back to the company that sold you the information and say, hey, we need somebody out here for a meeting to make sure it gets done and gets done
The
properly?
YouTube account, that is separate from our vendor.
Yeah.
That's something we're doing on our own as a place to post these recordings of the meetings.
Okay, any new business? There being no new business, I'll need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. Go Steelers.